Hi everyone, welcome to part 2 of the first Casamance release for Australia for this year. This part of the release focuses on European influence, Romanticism, the inspiration of the Viennese Secession art movement, and classical forms you see in European Art Deco architecture, something that we see repeating in themes from Casamance, which is a great way to connect back to earlier collections. I'll start again with the wallpaper book. This is called Printemps Viennois and is a really elegant way to bring a bit of spring into your interior. There's some lovely motifs repeating elegant patterns, drawing inspiration from architectural designs and traditional art. And you'll be excited to see a metallic ink that sits over the dry ground. So a lot of these designs have got real three-dimensionality, particularly these forms here. It's a really lovely book of very classic, usable designs that coordinate fantastically together. My pick of the bunch is Majolique, this stunning piece in the front here. So that's Printemps Viennois. We'll go to our first cloth. This is called Belle Étoile, typifying the Art Deco inspiration we see often from the Parisian-inspired designs. This is another embroidery, a really lovely, tight, repeating vertical fan design, which opens up a typical Art Deco fan into a more usable motif for drapery and accessories. Really striking colour palette, but a stunning couple of useful neutrals at the front. Loving our French rouge, and then at the back here, the traditional gold and blue that we come to look for in the brand. This has got a really lovely form. Some stunning images we'll show you online of this as a drapery. It's a beautiful product, and you get that lovely shimmer against this stunning dry cloth in the background. That's Belle Étoile. It sits really well with the next design, Bramante. I love this cloth. It takes a geometric form that you would see in architecture and repeats it in a motif that's really loose. So you get a stunning geometric form, but it's broken enough that as a curtain it's just going to provide texture, tactile interest. A mix of yarns brings dry and sheen together, so you get contrast. And in some of the colours there's real pop, with this gold sitting against the teal background colour. Really interesting dynamic cloth, absolutely love this. And interestingly, this is a dual purpose, so it looks fabulous as upholstery as well as drapery. Lovely scale, works back with bigger and smaller patterns. I think this is really usable and adds a touch of luxury, surface interest. That's Bramante. Starting to bring in some traditional European influences, this beautiful cloth, Montpalatin. We've been so desperate for these more traditional, inspirational designs, and I love the scale of this. It's really, really grand, as you can see here. It's really generous, and there's just enough negative space in the motif to let that dulled sateen shine through. An elegant, timeless colour palette that you would absolutely expect in a design of this nature. I love this burnished gold, and again, the burnt ochre is stunning. This, I think, has got great applications and fills a real hole for something, a modern take on a traditional design. That's Montpalatin. Next, we move to a stunning open weave sheer, which has got a really interesting dynamic construction, incorporating a little bit of wool with linen, viscose, and acrylic. In this design, you'll see a space-dyed effect, particularly notable in this really quirky little colour here, which brings a little pop of interest into the weft so that you've got some dynamic surface, tactile interest at the window. This would look every bit as good lined as it does as a standalone sheer, and I love some of these brave colour palettes that allow you to play up the contrast between the warp and the weft. Warm and inviting, it's a beautiful contrast to the sheen you see in some of the other parts of the collection. Casamance are excellent at playing off those dry and metallic yarns, so that's a really wonderful one to add to this portion of the release. Next we have Eclose. Really lovely cloth here that incorporates some linen with viscose and even a touch of silk to give that incredible luster that's impossible to mimic with any other yarn type. This is a painterly take on an opening tulip design. With this stunning cloth, you've got a really, really modern take on this look and some really interesting fashion colours. I love this bricky, peachy orange. You get the subtle sheen playing against the dry in the weft. Really lovely painterly watercolour sort of effect that you get with this drapery, and it will hang beautifully at the window. As you can see, the movement in that cloth is absolutely exceptional. That's Eclos. Another gorgeous upholstery from the brand for the year, and continuing their tradition of excellent cut pile velvets, is Parioli. I absolutely love this because it's so transitional. It's going to work back with really traditional designs in homes, but will equally work with something incredibly modern, and even sits into mid-century and Scandinavian influences. A wonderful transitional kind of repeat that you can play back with botanicals, smaller scale designs, and of course layer on top of velvets and bouclés as well. The colour palette's really fabulous. You get the pop of the velvet against the dry ground underneath, and some really brave colours, which, as we move towards more colour in the interior, is a really, really apposite time for this to arrive. I'm looking forward to you working with this one, and there's some phenomenal photography of this used in a variety of ways. It works back with literally everything in the whole collection. Next we add a velvet. Casamance have got a really strong, stable velvet offering, and there's always a place for a traditional 100% cotton velvet. Nothing quite takes the colour like a cotton will, and so cotton velvets have always got this incredible richness and subtle sheen from their short pile. This has taken colour absolutely beautifully. You'll see colours that repeat from the brand, as well as some new on-trend colours adding in, and a really solid staple of neutrals to work back with. This is utterly timeless and can be used in every kind of project imaginable. It works back with all of the patterns from both parts of the collection and anything you've seen from the brand previously. You cannot go wrong with a cotton velvet, and this one is truly exceptional. As we're on a touch of bright colour and excitement, the last portion of this collection, which will lead us into the last wallpaper book, is Giardini, the hero printed cotton from this collection. I absolutely love this. It's a really free-form, artistic, hand effect, painterly design, taking again, I suppose, a botanical or even tropical motif and completely modernising it with this hand-painted effect. Lovely coordination of warm and cool tones in every single colourway make it a really dynamic addition, and it gives you the opportunity to pull in whichever colour palette you need. This against the black background, I think, is especially striking. And as always with Casamance's fine cotton, you can see an incredibly soft, subtle sheen as it catches the light. Absolutely incomparable quality. I love Giardini. It's really happy and uplifting. This design has been realised into a panoramic for the final part of the collection, a stunning book called Panoramas. This is an entire book of panoramic designs in large scale for your interior. This is a category that the brand is famous for, and we love this because it's a way to bring really strong thematic elements into an interior. This is the design we've just seen Giardini extrapolated into a large repeating format to have a really dramatic wall panoramic display. This book is filled with just about every kind of design you can imagine for every kind of project. You will see watercolour, block printing effects, transfer printing styles, ink, all sorts. It's really interesting, and it's a fantastic way to bring a strong theme into an interior space, be it commercial or residential. All of these papers are vinyl face on a non-woven back, so great durability. The designs are absolutely stunning, and we know that everyone's going to want to get their hands on this, so this is one to really whet the appetite for the design community. I'm super excited to see how everyone responds to this one. That's that for the rest of the collection for 2021. We'd love to see your feedback and hear what the market thinks. We'd love to see photographs, so please encourage people to tag us online so that we can view where these products end up. And looking forward to seeing more from the brand over the course of the year. There's lots more in store. Thanks, everyone.